Good morning, everyone. It is a great honor to welcome you to this series of webinars on the digitalization of higher education institutions in the Mediterranean region, promoted and sponsored by the Union for the Mediterranean. My name is Lourdes Guàrdia. I am the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Psychology and Education Science at the Open University of Catalonia, the UOC. And for those who don't know the Open University of Catalonia, I would like to highlight that it was born in 1995 in Barcelona as the first fully online university in the world. We started with 200 students, and right now we have 80,000. But let me start by thanking the Union for the Mediterranean for launching this initiative and choosing us as travel partners, because by working together, we can create an inclusive digital future in higher education that bridges the digital divide and widens access to quality education for all. The work has broad experience in accompanying both higher education institutions and governments around the world in the process of digital transformation of higher education ecosystem and in the implementation of quality accreditation systems. We are here to discuss a transformative journey that goes beyond the mere adoption of new technologies. Digitalization in higher education is about rethinking our institutional cultures or our pedagogical models to better serve our students and communities. So let me thank you all for your presence here today. I hope that this training will equip you with the tools you need to approach the digital transformation of your institutions with greater confidence. This initiative aims to address the challenge faced by the Mediterranean region regarding digitalization, such as limited access to education in rural areas, gender disparities in enrollment and achievement, and the need for improved employability and professional prospects. This project is structured in 2 comprehensive training blocks and will be followed by a guidebook on digitalizing higher education. The first training block, the one we start today, is titled Leading Digital Transformation in Higher Education, Models, Leadership, and Quality Assurance, and will focus on institutional transformation, exploring various models, leadership types, and quality assurance system. And the second block, which will take place next month, is titled Designing Inclusive and Quality Digital Learning, Trends, Tools, and Competencies for Higher Education, and will delve into technology-based instructional design aimed at faculty and researchers. However, I would like to emphasize that these webinars, while addressing key aspects of digital transformation, are only an initial step to introduce and raise awareness about what a digital transformation entails. There will be enough time to dive deeply into each of the topics covered, and this is why a guide will also be provided featuring best practices, implementation cases, and references that will further complement this initial approach to digital transformation in higher education. But before starting, I would like to give the floor to João Lobo. He's project analyst of higher education and research and the Union for the Mediterranean.
Thank you, Lourdes, for your word, and welcome everyone to this first block of the training. Lourdes just told us that her fully online university was founded in 1995. This is precisely when the Barcelona process was launched. The Barcelona process was the first multilateral framework of cooperation in the Mediterranean. It was created with the aim of contributing to achieving peace and security in the region. So next year, both WOC and the Barcelona process will be celebrating 30 years. The UFM, which was created in 2008, marked also a turning point in the Barcelona process. It introduced a more structured form of cooperation and is now an international organization with 43 member states based on the principle of equal footing between North and South. One of the main areas of cooperation in the UFM is higher education and research. Indeed, academic cooperation plays an important role in achieving an inclusive and sustainable development, especially for the younger generations, as it contributes to increasing employability and promoting intercultural dialogue. Last year, the UFM launched a public consultation in view of a future ministerial conference on higher education. This consultation identified digital education as an area of possible enhanced cooperation, together, of course, with other areas such as academic mobility or improved governance. Some specific paths of collaboration on digital education were acknowledged then, like sharing online tools and platforms, building capacity through training of staff, establishing joint online programs, or increasing internationalization at home through virtual exchanges. So online education can be a powerful tool for inclusion, as students from remote areas can have access to quality education, but also in situations of emergency, such as in Gaza. For that, the UFM is giving support to An-Najah National University in Palestine and UNIMED that are preparing a project empowering Gaza students to complete their university education remotely as soon as the situation on the ground makes it possible. For that, they can count with the support of many universities around the globe, and I hope that soon more details will be shared on how to join this endeavor. So we are really delighted by the interest shown for this online training, as we have reached almost 600 registrations. And we want to thank again the Open University of Catalonia for collaborating with us. They are indeed a front runner, a reference as far as online education is concerned. And I wish this training will bear fruits and that it will be only the beginning of a long and rich road ahead. I pass the floor to Lourdes again, and we jump into the course.
Thank you all for your welcoming. And now we are going to start. So let me say that this first session will be presented by myself and Dr. Maina. Both we are professors at Psychology and Education Science at work, and with a long experience with online and hybrid education. We think that, first of all, it is relevant to introduce the concept of educational models supported by ICT and explore various modalities that can be implemented based on a specific context and identify needs. Once the most appropriate modality for each context and needs is selected, key decisions must be made about which elements to transform, the actions required, the necessary resources and strategies, and how these changes will affect the roles of the stakeholders involved in the transformation. All these elements will define the educational model in the new digital context. And regarding how to highlight the positive impact on the entire educational community, we will provide a concise overview of how technology can be integrated into teaching, learning, curriculum design, and institutional processes, but also how technology can be a catalyst for the education change. First of all, we would like to address the educational model. Is it in mind by the extent of ICT use, because it is when the learning modality is defined. And how can we do that? So using this representation, which is based on contributions and perspectives from Tony Bates, Poole and Bach on the continuum of e-learning, we can observe that we have scenarios where the use of ICT is occasional or simple, and other scenarios where the use of technologies is more intensive. So in other words, from less to more dependence of technology, from face-to-face learning to blended learning or hybrid, also known as high-flex with small differences, to a more distributed and fully online learning. In this sense, let's see why it is relevant to understand the similarities and differences of these learning modalities regarding the level of the use of ICT, synchronicity and asynchronicity in an online and hybrid environment. For example, HyFlex combines face-to-face, online synchronous, and online asynchronous learning. And in this case, students choose, for example, how to participate with full flexibility between modes. In the case of hybrid learning, mixes face-to-face and online components, but requires students to participate in both formats as determined by the course schedule. Online learning, for example, all instruction and interactions occur fully online, either synchronously, real time, or asynchronously at any time. And in the case of blended learning, we can say that integrates face-to-face and online learning with some face-to-face sessions complemented by online activities, but less flexible than HyFlex. With this table, you can see some examples of these learning modalities. HyFlex, for example, can be, let me say, a university course where students can attend face-to-face, join via live Zoom or Meet sessions, or watch recorded lectures at any time. In the case of hybrid learning, can be a course that meets face-to-face on Monday or Tuesday and so on, and online session synchronously on Wednesday or other days, and students must attend both sessions. One example of online learning can be an online course where all contents, discussions, and assessment take place on a learning management system, and also we can include synchronous sessions. And the last example, for example, is in the blended learning case, that can be a workshop series that meets face-to-face for hands-on activities supplemented by online assignments and discussions. It's just to give some examples to you. But let me also introduce that experts discuss about how artificial intelligence can enhance all these learning modalities by personalizing content, providing real-time analytics, offering tailored feedback, thereby making education more flexible, adaptive, and responsive to individual learning needs. But however, let me say that teachers may begin at any point along the continuum and gradually evolve as they build capacity and expertise. The end goal, however, is not simple to adopt more technology for its own sake, but to create a learning environment where technology enhances the educational experience, making it more accessible, flexible, and engaging for students. So in this regard, let me say that the educational model can be understood from different perspectives, and one of the most relevant is the role technology plays in designing, teaching, and learning processes. But we will see this later on, this aspect, okay? But digital educational model components, how we can organize them? So once we have considered the possible modalities based on how we will integrate technologies into the teaching and learning process, the different components of the educational model must adapt to a new scenario shaped by the opportunities and strengths of technology. In this regard, we propose that an educational model primarily supported by technology should place the students at the center of the process. Therefore, the design of learning activities and not the content should guide how the students interacts and learns in a digital or hybrid environment. The student is supported at all times by specialized faculty whose primary functions are to design, plan, guide, drive, and assess the full educational process. There are 3 teaching profiles, mainly professor or lecturer, course facilitator, and an advisor, who work jointly to assure quality in the learning process. Also, learning resources especially designed for this kind of modalities is supporting and scaffolding the student at any time. And these include the learning materials and didactic resources, environments, and tools needed to complete the learning activities. Another key component is the assessment. of the educational model, because it has been devised as a mechanism for learning and providing feedback on the learning process. It is, let me say, therefore, continuous and formative and provides constructive feedback to ensure continual improvement in the learning process. So the assessment activities help ensure the achievement of learning objectives and the development of competencies. And through the learning management system of virtual campus, so the student has access to the virtual classroom, which are the learning spaces where the teaching staff, fellow students, activities, content, tools for learning can be found. So also there is a space that promotes a networked community. And now we are going to address the topic of integrating technology into teaching, learning, and curriculum design. Let's see how we can do that. Primarily, the student profile in an online or hybrid environment is diverse. So if the student is at the center of the process, one of the primary aspects we need to consider is that in an online or hybrid modalities, diversity among students may increase even more, as we may find that these profiles become predominant, such different levels of digital literacy. They can have, for example, limited access to devices, diverse social and environmental backgrounds, students with special needs, disabilities, and so on. They can have, for example, a range of socioeconomical levels, different levels of autonomy, students who are working and they don't have enough time for the study, also students with family responsibilities, a variety of extrinsic and intrinsic motivation for the study, and also let me say that loss of study habits due to having completed their initial studies time ago. And about students' role as one of the key components of the model, now it's important to talk about what is his role, because in an online educational model, the student role shifts toward active participation. We are asking them for self-motivation and responsibility in managing their learning. This is why we understand that the role should be learner-centered. Unlike traditional settings where face-to-face or in-person interaction can structure the learning experience, online students are more autonomous. So they are expected to engage actively, participating in discussions, completing assignments, and interacting with peers and instructors are crucial for fostering a community and gaining a deeper understanding of the material. Also, manage time and organization. So online learning often provides flexibility, making time management skills essential. The students need to set goals, create schedules, and keep up with courses deadlines without the structured environment of a physical classroom. Also, seek resources and support, because students are encouraged to use available resources such as digital libraries, forums, and technical support. Develop digital literacy. In this case, is being proficient with digital tools and platforms is fundamental in an online setting. And finally, collaborate virtually, because group projects and peer interactions are often integral to online learning. So students must collaborate effectively, even if asynchronously or across different time zones, to achieve common goals. So summarizing, online students are co-creators of their learning journey, leveraging the flexibility and resources provided while assuming an active self-directed role. And what happened in the case of a teacher role? So in a digitalized classroom, this role has shifted from that of a lecturer to a facilitator of learning. So with the integration of ICT tools, educators are now focusing on creating more student-centered learning experiences that empower students to take an active role in their own learning journey. So, for example, as you can see in this scheme, the teacher has to plan the teaching action and manage the classroom, design the learning activities and resources, guide and facilitate the learning process, also encourage and motivate the students, evaluate, giving feedback and continuous dialogue with the student and or group of students, and finally collaborates with other teachers, facilitators, advisors, learning designers, or coordinators. So the teacher's role is a kind of combination of actions undertaken by teaching staff and tutors to monitor the students and help them make decisions. So likewise, it is through this support from teaching staff that the students receive personalized attention, benefit from constant guidance through their academic career, and establish close links with the community. How we organize this teaching model? But when we are talking about the teacher's role, we are also referring to a teaching model that should be also defined for an online or hybrid modality. So the student is supported at all times by a specialized faculty, but it is recommendable to distribute tasks that can be done by a same person or from different persons. So in the scheme I'm showing, there are teaching profiles as the lecturer, professor, course facilitator, and advisor, who work jointly to assure the quality in the learning process. But not only they are working on that. So we propose a model like that. For example, the lecturer designs the course, is the responsible of the subject, assures its quality, and coordinates the course instructors, supported sometimes by a learning designer. The course facilitator guides and assesses the student's learning process within the framework of a particular course. The advisor or a counselor guides the student in choosing a personalized academic pathways at the university or at the educational institution. The academic program coordinator is in charge of the coordination of all teachers involved as the advisors of the program and assure that the educational model is respected. And a program manager that is providing all necessary resources for teachers, such as administrative support related to the teaching action, funding for development of the learning resources, and so on. But how we can assure the digital literacy for teachers and learners regarding to adopt this role? How can we provide teachers and learners of the necessary digital literacy needed for the digital transformation we are looking for? Here we have, for example, Digicom Edu. I'm sure you already know that. So this is an European digital competence framework for educators designed to guide teachers and trainees in developing their skills for effective teaching and learning. It outlines 6 key areas of digital competence, as you can see: professional engagement, digital resources, teaching and learning, assessment, empowering learners, and facilitating learners' digital competence. So each area is divided into specific competencies that educators can develop at different proficiency levels, from beginner to expert. And why it is useful, this framework? So Digicom Edu provides a structured framework for educators to improve their digital skills and integrate technology effectively in their teaching. By defining clear competencies, it helps institutions assess digital literacy needs, plan targeted professional development, and also support educators and learners in adapting to digital learning environments, making it essential for institutions aiming to enhance digital literacy in a more systematic and measurable way. So to address digital literacy for both teachers and learners in universities or educational institution digital transformation, we use this framework, for example, because it provides a structure that ensures a continuous, relevant approach to digital literacy for sustainable learner-centered transformation. So in this regard, we propose that an evaluation of current digital skills among teachers and learners based on Digicom Edu's competencies should be addressed. Also, we propose offer foundational and advanced digital skills training focusing on pedagogical integration and practical applications regarding how to provide professional development for teachers. We also propose to provide an introductory course on digital basics and interactive pathways relevant to coursework regarding how to provide learner-focused digital literacy, enable ongoing self-assessment using these framework tools to set personalized goals, embed digital competencies into curriculum with a specific milestone aligned to Digicom Edu. Also, we propose to build a digital community of practice with all the stakeholders involved for sharing resources and experiences. And finally, we also propose to monitor the program effectiveness, adapting based on feedback and progression models. But let me say that we have other frameworks that can be used for the same purpose. Here we have the UNESCO ICT Competency Framework for Teachers. That is a global framework that supports teachers in integrating ICT into their practice to enhance teaching and learning. The framework identifies, as you can see, 3 main competency areas: understanding ICT in education, curriculum and assessment, and pedagogy, and includes 3 progressive levels: technology literacy, knowledge deepening, and knowledge creation. So it is a different approach, but with the same goal at the end. So the UNESCO framework provides a comprehensive approach to developing teachers' digital competencies in a way that aligns with the national and international educational goals. By detailing competencies at different levels, it helps institutions design professional development that meets teachers where they are and guides them toward more advanced, innovative uses of technology. So, and finally, let me say that this framework is especially valuable for institutions looking to promote digital literacy across diverse educational settings, supporting effective use of ICT, and foster higher order thinking and collaborative skills in students. And how curriculum design can take advantage of this new model. So the digital transformation in higher education fundamentally reshapes curriculum design by shifting from content-centered to competency-based models, emphasizing skills acquisition on real-world application of rote knowledge. So in traditional curricula, let me say that the primary focus has often been on delivering content knowledge. Learning objectives are usually framed around what the students should know by the end of a course, with less consideration for how they learn and how adaptable their knowledge is in a dynamic, real context. However, when integrating ICT into curriculum design, educators begin by reconsidering the foundational goals of education. This approach prioritizes competency-based learning, where objectives target not just knowledge acquisition, but also the development of skills such as critical thinking, collaboration, problem solving, and digital literacy. So just to mention some. And competency-based learning emphasizes what the students can do with what they know, fostering adaptability and lifelong learning skills. So let me say also regarding the curriculum design that digital tools facilitate this shift by providing opportunities for interactive project-based and experiential learning with technologies like simulation, virtual labs, and collaborative platforms. Students can engage in hands-on activities that mirror real-world scenarios. This approach also enables personalized learning pathways where technology adapts to individual progress needs and learning styles, allowing students to master competencies at their own pace. But before talking about how curriculum and learning design should be addressed in this context, let me briefly refer to this framework that WOC developed some years ago, looking at the opportunities that ICT can bring us to make the educational model more innovative and successful. So the IDEAS framework is intended to be indicative rather than comprehensive. And let me say that descriptive rather than prescriptive. So it is proposed as a guide to identify crucial issues and to support decision-making, organizational planning, and structural design, thus developing strategies for institutions to remain at the cutting edge of transformational higher education, while addressing challenge and also concerns. So in this sense, when I'm referring to the characteristics like ideas, so the I is intelligent pedagogy, we mean that it uses technology like learning analytics to enrich the learning experience by identifying struggling students, providing live progress updates, and adapting materials to individual needs. It expands beyond traditional learning management systems, integrating data management across academic and administrative areas, encouraging students to create and manage relevant online platforms, engage in a virtual project work, and interact with professionals outside even the institution that takes learning beyond the campus or the platform systems, and incorporating diverse educational applications like remote labs, augmented virtual reality, and mobile apps for collaboration, further support active, autonomous, and tech-enabled learning experience. What about distributed pedagogy? So with this characteristic, we mean that it emphasizes shared ownership of the learner journey, involving collaborative partnerships and allowing learners to select services from a competitive marketplace. So this approach shifts the role of universities to focus on strategic partnerships, aligning curriculum with employer needs, enhancing employability, and partnering with experienced external agencies, let me say, for services like the 24-hour support. So key practices include open access to courses, recognition of credits from diverse learning resources, challenge exams, and acknowledging prior learning. And additionally, let me say that involves engaging broader communities in research and teaching, encouraging students to work on projects with professionals and the public to tackle societal issues. With engaging pedagogy, we mean that it centers on students' desire to be actively involved in the learning. So effective practices include designing for active learning, where students generate content using technology interactively, creating learning build portfolios, for example, applying gamification, and encouraging feedback seeking from teachers, peers, and the academic community. Or shifting focus from content to learning also. Courses should reduce traditional content, allowing students to source, evaluate, and apply information to real life problem solving and teamwork. We can say also with this engaging pedagogy that we can support faculty in a kind of engaging pedagogy that involves offering tailored development programs, encouraging reflective practice, and recognizing ongoing professional growth through digital, let me say, badge or micro-credentials. By agile pedagogy, we mean that it focuses on flexibility, offering modular programs, self-paced schedules, and personalized learning paths with tailored support and feedback. It emphasizes recognition of prior learning through micro-credentials, let me say also e-portfolios and credits for prior knowledge adopted in the workplace, creating cost-saving pathways for lifelong learning. It also supports internationalization by partnering with universities, promoting students' mobility, and offering diverse course options through, let me say, MOOCs and distance learning. And finally, by situated pedagogy, we mean that it emphasizes real-world curriculum relevance and aligns learning with the students' personal and professional goals. It involves authentic assessment, partnerships with industry, and integrating job-related skills into the curriculum. So key practices include virtual placements, industry internships, work simulated assessments, and platforms for showcasing skills to employers. So this is really relevant. So additional efforts support the students with job resources, mentorships, and innovation skills. So addressing societal issues, it encourages student projects with public input also, collaboration with nonprofits and involvement in sustainability initiatives too. So let me say just that ideas framework, this is ideas for you for digital transformation, provides a response that can help in a priori strategic and organizational planning as a robust method to prepare for the near future of higher education. As we have seen in such a context, one of the most relevant components we've seen in our educational model is that the learning activity drives the learning process rather than the educational content. So therefore, the activities design should promote interaction, participation, motivation, and students' interest. So we must leverage the potential of technology to strengthen these opportunities and ensure that activities are designed to be, for example, student-led, connected to the real world, making them more meaningful for students. So technology can greatly assist in this. So, but which type of methodologies are we considering as drivers? If, as we mentioned, learning activities form the core of the learning design, our approach is to center these activities on active methodologies. Why? So, because active pedagogies translate principles of active learning, promoting learner engagement and targeting the development of different key and specific competences. So they focus on meaningful real-world activities where learners mostly learn with others in continuous collaboration and exchange, solving problems, generating solutions, and contributing to their own and others' integral development. So these 12 methodologies is just an example, emphasize meaningful real-world activities that not only provide practical experience, but also cultivate, as I mentioned, critical thinking, collaboration, and problem-solving skills. In active learning settings, the students often work together in a dynamic exchange, co-constructing knowledge and supporting each other's holistic development. So this collaborative environment encourages learners to take responsibility for their learning journey, reinforcing their self-efficacy and autonomy, while also enhancing interpersonal and communication skills. And finally, just to say that when technology is integrated thoughtfully to support this kind of methodologies you see in your screen, it can amplify the learning experience, offering diverse ways to approach and interact with content. So digital tools enable learners to explore different modes of learning, catering to various learning preferences and expanding their digital literacy. So in this sense, technology enhanced active learning activities can facilitate the development of these 21st century skills and provide learners with the opportunity to practice and refine a broad set of skills in authentic or simulated contexts. Another key component of the educational model is learning resources. So these play a crucial role, and integrating technology into their conceptualization, design, and development allows us to offer a variety of formats, as you can see. So better catering to different learning styles, needs, and promoting inclusivity. So in a digital content, resources must be let me say, didactic or self-explanatory, foster student autonomy, and serve as essential tool that guide the learning process at every step. So the creation and selection of resources by the instructor also enhance teacher presence through these materials, these resources. And finally, the last key component of the educational model is to design a robust e-assessment approach. So it is important to say that to design effective continuous assessment and feedback, it's essential to adopt a learner-centered approach that incorporates ongoing assessment, active pedagogy, and the high levels of students' engagement and participation. This approach should integrate knowledge application across all assessment activities. A bank of authentic case studies and problem scenarios can be created to offer randomized real-world assessments, helping learners apply their skills in diverse contexts. So leveraging, for example, let me say, learning analytics is also critical, as it allows for data collection to support both teachers and learners in tracking progress and identifying areas for improvement. Finally, providing constructive feedback focused on actionable improvements ensures that the students continuously develop and refine their knowledge and skills throughout their learning journey. So to ensure another issue that is also important, accessibility and inclusivity in e-assessment design, it is important to create assessments that consider diverse learner needs, as I mentioned at the beginning, and offer accommodations to support all students. So this involves designing assessment items that are free from cultural, linguistic, and gender biases to promote fairness and equity across the learning experience. So regarding to ensure also one of the key issues, the fairness and validity in assessment, use tools to prevent cheating and plagiarism, such as biometric tests, keystroke analysis, dual camera monitoring, and asynchronous oral defenses, for example, for the final projects in the master and bachelor's. Consider data privacy regulations to protect assessment integrity, obtain student consent, and inform them of requirements before enrollment. So additionally, provide training for teachers too and learners on the use of these tools and proper source referencing. And finally, it's also relevant testing and piloting is needed at any time because ICT is changing very quickly, and we need to test pedagogical innovations and leverage the potential of digital technologies because regularly review and update the e-assessment process. It's important to align with evolving educational needs and technological advancement, ensuring ongoing improvement and relevance. And now I will give the floor to my colleague, Professor Maina, to continue the presentation.
Thank you very much, Lourdes. Before starting, I want to remind every participant in this webinar that we have the chat for questions. We have a period at the end of my presentation for questions and answers. And Lourdes and me will be checking those questions in the meantime, and we will answer them later. So this part of the presentation will focus more on technology. But let's read a little bit the title we decided to choose to present here, Technology as a Catalyst for Educational Change. The idea here is not to think about technology only as a tool, but also thinking technology and how we can foster educational change in all the principles that my colleague Lourdes had been mentioning before. But this is not an easy question to answer. So what we'll present here how some approaches, concepts, and tools to help the decision-making regarding which technologies are the best fit for our educational model, educational modality, and our actual needs, specific needs in our institution. Let's start first by defining that digital learning technologies can be useful in different modalities, as I was presenting before, high flex, blended learning, online, face-to-face, and also teaching and learning methods. They are not all exclusive to one of them. I will analyze that in a few seconds. That educators should use digital technologies to create dynamic teaching and learning experience. And of course, for more senior levels that are here present today in our webinar, we have to think about budget. So that effective implementation requires some infrastructure investments. Commonly used digital technology for teaching and learning include, and I will mention only the principal ones. Of course, there are hundreds of them, but I think these are the core technologies that we think about when transforming our institution into a more digital institution. Of course, we are thinking about, first of all, about learning management systems that are like a central hub for the distribution of materials, modules, activities where the action happens, teaching and learning happens. Synchronous technologies that enable initiatives like we are having today, like we can discuss and interact live in real time. These technologies include audio, video, text, but also some more advanced functionalities like screen sharing, whiteboard, even breakout rooms where we're working with groups. Today we have a big group, and for example, this is not really possible in terms of thinking your own course, probably with the smaller groups of students, you can think about more about this interaction. There's also multimedia applications that are important to take into account when taking decisions regarding technologies through video, audio, or other interactive elements, including also immersive technologies. Collaborative applications were mentioning before. We have to think about the learning experience as a social interaction, of learning with others and learning with others and learning from also resources. So these collaborative tools should be taken into account at the moment of thinking about how we implement our specific model of education. Cloud-based technologies are not very new, but they are being adopted more and more in institutions because they enhance accessibility and they facilitate collaboration through different documents. They support the integration of new technology and they reduce the maintenance costs. This is something we have been embarked recently also in our university, moving everything to the cloud-based technologies, and of course provide automatic feedbacks. And of course, we have to take into account emerging technologies, innovation that are disrupting our field in terms of education, that like artificial intelligence or extended reality or learning analytics. So let's reflect a little bit, I was mentioning before, which technologies are best fit for different educational modalities and the models we will implement in our own institutions. Here is a table. I won't be able to go in every detail of that, but I just want to give some examples on how to use this table to think about your own institution. Think about learning management systems. It is clear that it's essential for course management and delivery in fully online experiences like we have here in our university. It's also crucial in iFlex models because it has to organize all modes of participation and content delivery, but probably it's less useful in face-to-face exclusive institution, although we know that every institution is now having a learning management system usually used for content delivery in case of face-to-face. Video conference tools, of course, they are very useful and essential in HyFlex models. HyFlex models work on synchronous online participation from a student that are in the classroom and a student that are also somewhere else, like, for example, connecting from home and having a common experience all together with the teacher and the other students and participating actively of these classroom sessions and courses. About classroom technology, of course, when we think about face-to-face, we only need some basic classroom technology for projector whiteboards while we are working in a physical environment. Some more advanced technology, if we're thinking about labs in this sense. But if we move to the HyFlex model, we need actually advanced audio and video setups. You have to think about the idea of installing into the classroom multiple cameras, microphones, interactive displays in order to ensure that students present there in the classroom and students at a distance are also have the same possibilities of interaction and learning. Content creation tools, very important, particularly in, for example, fully online learning. They are essential in creating and sharing digital content. We, for example, moved from the very beginning, I was mentioning at the very beginning of the presentation, we were born in '95. We were using a lot of printed material that were deliverable through post and mail. We moved towards a digital university, complete digital university. So we have guarantee access to all the materials to our students, regardless where they are situated. Assessment tools. Of course, if we are thinking about more traditional assessment that Lourdes was challenging a little bit in the previous presentation, but if we think about traditional methods like exams, of course, this technology in terms of digital technology is not quite useful, although it's very, very important in fully online where we need online assessments and proctoring. But if we move towards also flexible tools to accommodate participation modes in HyFlex, This is also a relevant investment that we have to do in assessment in order to guarantee the authors of the exams, for example. We need to think also about communication tools, where we have to have in IFLS models an integrated communication platform, guaranteeing discussion boards with students in class and students at a distance, essential for communication in fully online universities. And in terms of accessibility, it is everywhere. Here, this is essential. This is something, a message we want to leave here in our presentation today and the next one, how important it is to think about accessibility issues. One way to think about technologies then is to think about what we call the pedagogical affordances. That refers to the analysis of the properties that technology have for action, meaning how it supports the tasks that we want our students and our teachers to develop. So we have to remember that while we shape our tools, mostly companies shape our tool usually, and our tool shape also the learning experience itself. Knowing about these affordances, what I can or I can't do, is very important at the moment of taking decisions on what technologies I will introduce into the classroom to support the four key elements in a classroom, that the learner, the teacher, the knowledge, and the environment. And talking about inclusivity, we wanted to present here today also a very popular and unknown approach that is of universal design for learning. Universal design for learning, who aims to create flexible and inclusive learning environments that accommodate to diverse needs in education. What does it mean? All students. Means all students, regardless of their abilities and backgrounds, and provide them with equal opportunities to succeed in learning. This is a commitment that is highlighted in every international report. Like if you read UNESCO report regarding that, and it's a commitment that every university has already introduced in their vision and mission. It's a way, applying principles of universal design for learning is a way to offer students with various ways to access the material, demonstrate their knowledge, and stay motivated. I encourage to use this framework to design your learning experiences and to take decisions regarding the technology you need. As not only focus on technology, it's also focused on pedagogy and on the way we present learning materials. It has three main key principles that we will explain better in our webinars in December. But these three multiple means of engagement, principles of engagement, focuses on stimulating the interest and motivation for learning and offering choices to students on how to engage with the learning material. The means of representation ensures that information is presented in various formats to accommodate different learning styles. And middle function and expression respects the students' preference, allowing them to demonstrate what they know in different ways, through different methods and through different forms of representation. Let's see it from, under the angle of the axis of the technology. What it means, universal design for learning and diversity, equity, and inclusion are very related concepts of the agenda of higher education institutions that want to engage with the development of their societies. It means in terms, for example, inclusivity, ensuring a student, as I said, regardless their ability, technologies that will let them succeed in education, like the use of screen readers, captioning for videos, multilingual resources. In terms of flexibility, thinking about adaptive learning platforms. Most of them are already adaptive learning platforms. We are in a moment where technology has developed enough to guarantee some kind of adaptability of the learning experience. In terms of accessibility, thinking about accessible websites, text-to-speech software, and keyboards for navigation. In terms of engagement, promoting engagement means pedagogically providing significant real situation. But what does it mean also in terms of technology? It means in terms of gamified learning applications, virtual labs, discussion forums to think about a more easier and simple technology solution. In terms of personalization, providing the student with personalized paths. So this learning management system should have to have, for example, personalized dashboard or AI-driven tutoring system that will help personalized learning. In terms of equity, we think about how to counter the digital divide and provide digital divide initiative in our institution. And for example, one of the solutions comes from the provision of devices or ensuring the internet access to our students. And in terms of collaboration, providing online collaborative tools for group projects in virtual environment, social platform. And in terms of assessment, going to develop more diverse assessment methods that guarantee that our students are developing their knowledge and skills as we are expecting. And for example, here solutions like e-portfolio that not usually are integrated into learning management systems should be considered. I was mentioning at the very beginning that we were thinking about sharing with you different tools and concepts on how to take decisions regarding technologies. Here we have chosen one of the most sound rubrics that help us think about technologies in 8 items, different items or categories if you want. And we will come back and overlap some ideas of the universal design for learning. But it helps us think about technology in terms of functionality, the ease of use, and how this technology that we are acquiring in university have technology support. Is there help that is available there to support us in critical moments or to help our own team and staff install this learning management system and have support in terms of continuous support during this continuous upgrading. Accessibility, as I mentioned before, I won't get into detail. Accessibility standards must be respected with the technologies we incorporate in our technology learning environment. Technical issues like integration within LMS, some other applications, thinking about interoperability issues and how these learning environments can be accessed from different operating systems or different devices or different browsers. In terms of mobile design, important, we know that our students now are studying from home and studying from everywhere, and we have to guarantee that these technologies and applications that incorporate in our institution allow this access and has these functionalities. Let's say that responsive design today is a must in every application. So usually we won't find any issue regarding this. We also have to think a lot how these tools provide secure privacy and data protections, and respect the standards in terms of data protection rights, in terms of sign in, sign out, in terms of data privacy and ownership and archiving in a secure place. But also this rubric calls for 3 kinds of presence. I think this is interesting because it's not only focused on technical issues, as you see. It thinks about the social phase, so how these tools support, for example, collaboration, or what we call user accountability, in order to be able and to be sure who is participating and help the student develop this responsibility when they are acting also in a digital world, that they must be responsible and accountable of what they are doing. In terms of the teaching present, how this technology support the teaching in facilitating learning, how these technologies probably have units of learning analytics that support the student, the teacher and the student in taking decisions regarding their own learning or regarding how I support the learning of our students. And in terms of cognitive present, I was mentioning before how these technologies may support higher order thinking or metacognitive engagement. For example, portfolios are a good example of how to think about metacognitive engagement. Another very useful tool are some models. There are a few. This is a very simple one, that is the SAR model, that is divided into 2 main categories. This is about technology for improvement and technology for transformation. And how we think about this technology, what they can provide to enhance the learning experience. In terms of the first 2 parts of the model about improvement, we have the idea of technologies as a substitution. The technology replaces without improving any functionality. So through this example, I have to very briefly and fast been able to show you the power of this model. For example, we have typically readings in our courses. So how this technology that substitute support access to reading. So we can simply publish in a Moodle learning environment our content, for example, PDF or videos. But technology also can help in terms of amplification. Technology replaces and improves some functionality. For example, here, I was thinking about the same case where we distribute some content online in our platform to our students. So if you think in terms of accessibility, we know now that we can install automatic readers of text, helping those students having visual problems. So this is a way in which technology is amplifying our capacity and the learning experience of the student, regardless their different capacities, and also provides additional functionalities like, for example, annotated documents online. This is the way also to keep the student online, not only for downloading material, but also to study online. Then moves a little bit further with our ambition with the introduction of technology that is not only about technology, but how it's impacting the methodologies we're using and the learning at the end, the knowledge and the skills the students are developing. So we're moving towards modification, where technology allows to significantly redesign learning activities. And now as a teacher, I'm very interested in that because I want to ensure that our students are actually learning and are achieving the learning outcomes that we have outlined. Here, following the same example, I'm adding an additional functionality, for example, of interactivity and self-evaluation to help the student self-evaluate and see if it's understanding what they are doing. And let's move to a step forward in terms of the redefinition, where technology allows to create new activities that wouldn't be possible if we didn't have these technologies. Always continue with this first example that we were using platform only to distribute content. We're moving now in the redefinition and the transformation of the learning experience to a more collaborative knowledge construction approach. So we do not only have accessible content online, and we have this tool of that helps the student self-evaluate. We can organize also more social environment where students can interact and chat or video chat online, and also co-construct knowledge through all these readings we propose. For example, like conceiving a collaborative concept map. That is also an application that we can add to our, for example, learning management system. If we come back to what I explained before, we have to ensure, for example, that this specific application of concept mapping is compatible and interoperable with the learning management system we have. I hope I can clarify the first ideas. So there are also now technology trends that are helping us in deciding which technology we'll introduce, but also challenges with kind of technologies. Here I want to think about how to talk about the elephant in the room that we have since 2022, that is artificial intelligence, that are the disruptive technology that we want to avoid in terms of destroying our educational model and system. How do you think about that? How we can transform that incorporation of new technologies like, for example, artificial intelligence and early analytics into a smooth integration where we can move as a cat within these bright glasses that are technologies that help us foster learning experiences. Let's talk about these two big trends in technology, enhanced learning, that will deepen in December, particularly. Artificial intelligence, their focus is in adapting learning experiences based on student data, and it combines very well with learning analytics. In fact, they are working all together all the time. They have together a specific capacity on affordance, if you want, to support personalization in learning, creating dynamic paths based on tracking the student's performance, for example, in recommend relevant learning materials also based on tracking performance or analyzing data of student behaviors and progress, delivering instruction and feedback targeted to specific students, or using this predictive analytics and helping teachers to be a step forward in what may happen, and then with this information make a decision in terms of intervention they can do in order to reduce dropout of students. The benefits for teachers of this technology is about freeing time with the exercise with AI in design and also in supporting student monitoring students. And technologies like learning analytics offering insights on the needs and learning style for our students, supporting us in data-informed decision making. The benefit for the students, there's also a lot of benefit for the student, although there are challenges, both for teachers and students and institutions of these two technologies in particular, is that it helps create more engaging experiences and targeting individual needs of the students, based always on the information we can collect on the run during the process of delivering the course or after an analysis of what has been how it has been working our course. Some limitation, of course, where we have to think about and be very attentive of the promises of that, but be very clear and knowingly of what they entail, the introduction of these technologies. This good use of artificial intelligence and learning analytics will rely a lot in the competencies we have as teachers and students in using these two technologies, both data and artificial intelligence. For that, we wanted to cite that there are new frameworks specifically related to these technologies that add in a certain way more detail to the DISCOM Edu framework that was presented at the very beginning for digital for skill for educators. There are here two, a recent, very recent one, AI competency framework for teachers and also for students released by UNESCO in September that defines AI literacy as the skills and knowledge that need educators and students to understand, use, and critically evaluate artificial intelligence. I invite you to also regard in detail these reports in order to think about new pedagogies that we can introduce in our learning experiences, but particularly to get informed and know what AI is, how I can use it critically, which kind of tools are available, and how can I use them creatively. And related to the literacies, there's also very important literacy that every educator and a student should develop. That is the literacy regarding learning analytics. There are a few frameworks regarding learning analytics, but the most important that I found from my perspective is the one that was developed by the Learn to Analyze Education Data Literacy Competence Profile. That establish a set of competencies related to data use in education, both for teachers and students, and involves data collection, data ethics, data application, data management, data analysis, and data comprehension and interpretation. These are very important things that must to be taken into account at the moment of incorporating new technologies. If you are a decision maker within your institution on how to incorporate not only the technologies, but ensure teacher professional development in these literacies to help them make a good use. I will go very fast on some illustrative example of how we have in our own institution at work started working with artificial intelligence. Of course, we are in a path towards the integration of artificial intelligence. You know, this is the path that has started, not ended. So I divided this in three aspects: more institutional, more related and focused on the teacher and on the students, all interrelated. In our own institution, we started, of course, by defining an institutional position and policy regarding the use of artificial intelligence. The institution organized an interfaculty and IT team for artificial intelligence decision making regarding how we use it, what kind of AI we should introduce in our institution, and for what purposes. Engaging in discussion also with faculty. And one of the decisions that was taken also is to inform our students. We had this responsibility towards them. So there was a generic paragraph that explained to the student how we understand AI in our institution and how it can be applied also in each of the courses. In terms, if you think about decision that the teacher has to make in their own courses, this policy establishes 4 main scenarios in a course. That is the use of AI that is not allowed. Usually we don't encourage that because we know by the fact that the student will use AI, but then we have to frame how this AI should be used. So we have another scenario that is limited use of AI, unrestricted use, or mandatory use. We can choose between these 4 scenarios and inform the student. How we did that also at an institutional level? Well, the teacher first start by having a course developed by our e-link that is similar what we understand in general a Center for Teaching and Learning, that provided a course to every teacher in our institution regarding AI. We have also access to Copilot to practice and to design our courses and improve the design of our courses. And we have also institutionally established some interdisciplinary teacher-led exploratory projects. The main ones, because I cannot be exhaustive on that, is the teacher feedback supported by AI, the conjunction of analytics and AI for dropout prediction, or an AI chatbot for active student learning, supporting student learning. From the perspective of the student, as I mentioned, we make clear in our courses how we will use AI in our specific courses or specific activities. We have created a very comprehensive learning material, interactive one, accessible online, that explains every aspect of generative AI, but we also answer and provide more information about the use of AI in our courses, tailoring scenarios, these generic scenarios of use provided by the institution into our courses. And we insist on raise awareness regarding AI, know the limits, learn how to chat or interact productively with AI, on always putting an emphasis that the student must always validate and rework and adapt what the AI is proposing in this dialogue, exploring different types of style, and make a transparent use of AI. In terms of learning analytics, and I finish here in the another example, we have a unit that is the learning analytic service that provides 2 kinds of services: academic data that manage the repository of all the data about teaching and staff activities that support research and innovation process that were mentioning before with data, and offer data from student and teacher satisfaction surveys. This information is very useful also for more advanced projects. And then there's advanced analysis academic data service that works more at the institutional level, more academic data, not specific learning analytic data for institutional decision making. It helps in design and implement assessment of institutional innovation projects, and analyze key factor and strategic factor regarding student success. We have, for example, in terms of analytic and dashboard, we have the course dashboards that are specific to a course and is relevant mostly for teacher and students. And we have other kind of data that is more comprehensive one, that is organized around dashboard according to the target person that will use it. And we have differentiating from governments, high level, dean, vice deputy, program director, professor, and students dashboards. Very useful for each one, including the data that is significant and relevant for each of these actors. So in conclusion of this presentation, we have 6 aspects that we want you to remember that is about the educational model, that institutions should adopt learning modalities like blended, high flex, or online, not as exclusive one, but they can make a combination of that, and thinking about how these models focus on using technology to enhance flexibility, accessibility, and inclusivity, and personalization of learning that is fostered today by these new technologies we've been exploring. About the teacher role, we are evolving from traditional lectures to facilitators, to the wise on the side, not person, more the stage on the stage. Using active learning methodologies for supportive technology. In terms of the student role, we are committed to provide experiences that support the student self-regulate the learning and in providing autonomy skills, while personal learning paths that are more accommodated to their specific needs. In terms of curriculum design, we have a big challenge of integrating these 21st century skills like collaboration, like critical thinking, like analytical thinking, like teamwork, that are part of every skill that any person needs to actually succeed in the society of today. Pedagogical innovation is then at our support, and think about the ideas framework that we presented today in terms to help think about curriculum redesign. In terms of technology integration, I mentioned here, encouraging autonomy, personalization, collaboration, engagement, and building a community. When we think about online, we don't have to think anymore about isolated students somewhere, but about a community that is in contact all the time, interacting. And we need, of course, as a commitment of an institution and teachers, collaboration with all kinds of stakeholders within the institution, with main actors within an institution, but also with external stakeholders, because we are working on also for the society and for the economic sector, this engagement with the economic sector. So thank you very much. Now, this is our presentation. We can now start the period of questions and answers.
Okay, so thank you, Marcelo, for this second part of the session. Probably some of the questions you posted are already answered after the presentation, because we saw that some of them are presented later on. So let us answer some questions with the time available, that it's not too much. For example, we have one related to how can we effectively activate self-motivation in students during online learning. I can say that it requires a combination of thoughtful design, supportive structures, and active engagement strategies, like incorporate interactive and active learning, as I mentioned and show with the 12 active pedagogies. Also, we should build, let me say, a supportive learning community to foster peer connection, to share in forums and discussion. We have a lot of experience on that at our university, and it works very well. So students are always supporting each other. But not also that. So also facilitators are crucial in these aspects, and their presence in the virtual environment, sending messages, following up the classroom, asking about if everything is clear, encouraging them, providing insights and continuous feedback is very relevant to maintain and keep this motivation also. Because students can find in this community answers and a climate of community building. So in this sense, it's very recommendable to provide these insights through the platform. Also in this aspect, AI can support a lot, especially when we have many students in our virtual classroom. So it depends how large is the institutions. It's not the same if we have 5,000 students or 80,000, or we have 1,000. So it depends also on that. Another question is, what is the most crucial role and step in designing an effective online course? So we are going to address this specific question in the second block of these webinars in December. But let me say that a systematic approach of a learning design model should be used to support the decision-making process, assuring the quality of the course, and also, if it's possible, to be supported by instructional designers. We will see in this second block in December, there is a session dedicated to learning design models, and we will present there some of these models like TPAC, ADDIE, and some others that can inspire you in be systematic and to follow step by step how you have to make decisions regarding the design and the support to the students. So even at the end of the design, you have to evaluate the impact of your design. So in this sense, these kind of models are supporting you in this effective, this design of the effective online course. There is another question that it's about, do you think that a single teacher can build an effective online course without the intervention of other specialists? For example, in Algeria, the teacher is responsible for all roles, starting from design of the course to the online submission to students. What do you think about? As I mentioned in my slide that I show you the teaching model, this is based on our experience, because at work we have a large amount of teachers and students, and we need this teaching model to support them at any time. So I'm sure that it depends on how large the classroom is and the subject you manage. One person can do that. But when you are transforming the institution and you are adding the use of technology, sometimes it's important to have this teacher literacy or people that can support in this issue. So I think that would be better if you can distribute this task, as I mentioned. If you can, you need to be trained to do that. But as I mentioned, it depends on the amount of courses or students you have and how large the institution is. So if a lecturer is responsible for more than one subject and each subject has different groups of classroom, then he or she has a lot of work, and the support is needed for sure. We have to be ready the course at the beginning, and all the staff in the classroom, all the guides, all learning resources, when these resources are digital, everything should be ready at the beginning of the course, and this requires a lot of plan and a lot of development. And this is why we think if we can distribute this task between other people that are specialized in these issues, will be great. You were asking also about examples. I think some are already given by the presentation. Some about curriculum design models will be provided, as I mentioned, in December in the second block, and also through the guidebook that will be sent to all participants. So there you will find a lot of links and bibliography and very useful references, and with descriptions about how useful is this reference and so on. So we are providing these examples also through this document. Also, you are asking about example of innovative methods for self-evaluation. For example, I can explain some that we are using at our institution. We are using automatic rubrics, for example, also chatbots for conversational support. I'm sure that AI can support students to provide feedback, but this should be also revised by the facilitator. So in this sense, this is something that should be supervised always, but we can provide also these examples in December. Also, some insights. Some of you mentioned that good string design is fundamental to online education. Yes, I can say definitely. If the design of the resources and the activities are not soundly or self-explanatory or didactic enough, supported by videos, images, visual infographics, and didactical analytics, can invite students to read it and to consult it. So this is why learning designers support is also crucial in this question, because they are experts on that. So this is why we think it's relevant to have this support. And some questions are about AI. So does work allow open book assessment, including AI access? Yes, we provided links in our presentation. At the end, Marcelo gave you some examples about that. All guides addressing AI educational use that we already have in English, but probably not all of them are translated, but it will be very soon. So in this sense, all the stuff we are designing to support on the use of AI for educational purpose will be available in our open site. So Also, you have questions about the role of AI as a support to the university in transforming teaching methods. Of course, so yes, definitely AI and the use of learning analytics dashboards combined together, as Marcelo mentioned, are crucial in supporting this change that allows to enhance the teaching and learning processes. But this is also challenging because all high institutions are saying and exploring and doing research about the results of these implementations. And probably we need, let me say, a more longitudinal studies to know about the real impact of the use of AI in our design. So technology is changing very quickly. And maybe we are now thinking in how to address the use of AI using one of the applications, and tomorrow there is another application that maybe is better, and we have to think about again. And this is something that it's well, it's running a lot and need very a lot of reflection around. So I don't know. I give the floor to Marcelo if you would like to add something more, because there are no new questions coming.
Yes,
I don't know if you would like to add something.
Yes, I'm just checking about.
We still have 4 minutes.
They are asking about how we may provide support to our students to do the right use of AI in the design. We will provide more in detail how we are studying this idea of an empowered learning design with AI in December. But what I can mention here that if you have an institutional approach to this question, of course, as we did, we started by developing a training course, a professional development course for our teachers in order to support them before starting use AI, providing a lot of information regarding what AI means, what are the limits, what are the ethical and possible use of AI in education. Is something that is this course is being redesigned again because we are advancing very fast in terms of AI technologies. So this is a way to approach that. And I think is a good way to take the best of AI is to not fear AI, but embrace AI, start interacting with that, having a lot of practice with that, and follow best practices. I hope we can present you some of them in December. There was a question regarding the SAM model. I was checking the SAM model about weaknesses and strengths of the SAM model. Well, I wouldn't say weaknesses. I would say the purpose of the SAM model is more focused on thinking about the learning experience itself as probably a tool for taking decisions regarding a whole institution. This decision on technologies probably is a little bit limited. But if we think about this model in terms of the teacher is proposing to the students in the course, this is a very strong model. As in my example, I was showing you how we can progress in our reflection regarding how we can use technologies and change the learning experiences we are proposing, targeting, for example, skills that you do not usually target in our courses. So this is a way to think about it. Help us as a thinking tool in terms of question our own practice, review our courses and redesign them. This is more impact in that sense. And there was a question regarding how we can engage students go and make them understand that online is not about having fun only or distracting or is not very important. I think the clue is in what we've been exposing today. It's about the learning experience connected to the skills we want our students to develop, providing realistic, real activities that resonates into their, for example, professional practice. This must be the way to do it. Sorry, okay. There's an alert here of climate something is happening. How can technology tools be utilized to support different levels of Blue's taxonomy, both face-to-face in online learning environments? Well, thinking about, for example, more engaging activities. The framework we presented about activities or electronic activities focuses on engagement, and that tells us the kind of activity we are proposing to our students will have an direct impact in the kind of knowledge that the students are developing. If we want our students to develop, for example, critical and creative thinking, using active pedagogies, as we were mentioning before, like project-based learning, is a way to foster this, and how we can do it with technology, supporting different tasks that are required in order to develop a project. For example, if we are working online in groups, we have to provide technologies that help students to work collaboratively online, meaning we provide them not only with a chat or a forum, we provide them also with other applications for working. For example, you know, most of you must know Google Drive, or that supports working with documents of different characteristics, like text, like spreadsheets, like presentations. So these tools that are not so complex and easy to use may support this taxonomy at all levels, let's say. It will depend mostly also in the methodology, having clear in mind what I expect from my students to learn, and then take decisions. You come back to what we presented here on how to think about technologies. I think this is the most important message we want to leave today. Think about technology, not focusing in them as tools only, and not adopting the vendors approach that are very, very persuasive, let's say, but also thinking in terms of all the components of pedagogy that we've been sharing with you, that are also tools to think about the learning experience.
Okay, Marcelo, we have on time. So it's 10:30, so we need to break, I think, everyone. So for 30 minutes. Thank you very much for this presentation and for your participation. You made very great questions. I'm sure that some of the questions will be answered in the next block in December, as I mentioned. So don't be afraid of that. So take a break, and we are coming back at 11.